My life movie was like, the cliche is real. Like I saw my whole life passing through my mind, and I was just like already seeing myself over there, like the abyss, like that. People just kept using like that, and for me it was a point of, oh man, am I gonna keep fighting on the way that people are using my product, or am I gonna understand why they are using like that, and what is the main value they see on using like that? I hang up from the phone. I cried, of course. And I was like, wow, I have to leave the country in 1 month. Honestly, if I had like just trusted that I would be able to find ways to make things work, for sure would save a lot of stress and a lot of stressful time. Being a woman, start up by themselves, I had a co-founder breakup, yeah.
Okay, we're gonna talk about it a little bit later. Spicy.
Putting my heart out here.
Please welcome Luciana Frazao, amazing founder from an AI startup. From what I understand, you're building an AI agent, right?
Yes, in fact, it's a multi-agent. So
multi-agent?
Yeah.
What does it mean, multi-agent?
We have many agents working in parallel to find specific information, and then we have an agent on top of that kind of puts everything together from all of those different agents and what they are finding. Because in the core, Fluence is a search engine, but we are specializing into finding information about people, so folks can better prepare for meetings, better know how to convey the message about the products, the unique value proposition of the startup, and improve commercial business interaction. Nowadays, I always say like only 1% of salespeople are doing what they're supposed to do, which is this research process to better prepare for such calls. The process itself is very fragmented, and it's a burden to do so. You know, like you have to go to Google, go to LinkedIn, find a Crunchbase page, and you have to be scattering information all around. And that's why many people don't even do it.
I potentially could use Fluence to research you as my podcast guest, right?
Yeah.
So walk me through what would be the process of, like, if I were using Fluence to do a research on somebody who I invited as a guest. Basically, I also need to know like all their background, projects they worked on, where they studied, who they worked with, what they're currently working on. Maybe even like what are their passions are or hobbies are.
So the main way that you could use Fluence is that you can go in, put the first name, last name, and the company of the person that you're looking. We then gonna do a whole web scraping, looking all of the digital footprint about that person and summarizing everything for you. Nowadays, we do have a lot of digital footprint, a lot of information spread around that we don't even know about it. So, okay, how can we help, people have like better access to information that is not only the superficial, high-level things that you see on a LinkedIn, but what is out there that is publicly available, okay? No data infringements. And like that can help people to have a better idea of whom that person is in a human level. It's not looking into that person through a kind of data point perspective. So, what is the role? How long are they in the company? And trying to get assumptions on this superficial level. But, okay, who that person is based on the digital footprint. So, we bring everything together. We do a behavioral profile of the person on top of the digital footprint. So you can understand what is the effective way to communicate with that person.
What does it mean, behavioral profile?
I'm not sure if you've ever done like a Big 5 or MBTI test, but there are like those personality tests where you can understand more about yourself, but also understand others, and it's a little bit of what we do. When I say behavioral profile. So you can understand, okay, what is the potential MBTI profile of the person? So on top of that, you can understand the good ways to communicate. So is that person objective, or they want more clarity in a conversation? Do I have to bring data, or they like to talk in a more ludic and storytelling way?
Is it more emotional, or is it more data oriented? This is very helpful.
Thank you. I think so too. I'm really proud about Fluence and the work we are doing, is that we are going in a certain way, a little bit away of what tech startups in AI are doing as a whole, which is avoiding automation. So yeah, a lot of products are here to automate or take out the human of the loop, and in some cases even making companies to fire humans to hire AIs. And we are not here to replace, we're here to empower. So really trying to help people to have better access to information, to better perform at their jobs, and being an ally. So we are team humans.
I want to ask you, so I remember when we first met, you were working on totally different product. I think it was like some more fintech space, financial product. If I'm not mistaken, it was something about credit for influencers or something like that. Does Fluence come from there? Also the name?
Yes, but it's cool you saying that, because I feel that indeed, like, we had pivot in terms of the problem space and the idea, but the core is still the same because it's Fluence, right? It's this part of the influence, how we want to help and impact others. When we started, the idea was all about the digital footprint aspect. Like, okay, what can we understand and how can we see the other based on the digital footprint and everything that they have out there online. And at first we thought about doing kind of credit card for influencers based on their digital footprint. So for people usually, like, having access to credit, it's hard, especially if you don't have any kind of credit scoring. And if you think on the new professions that are coming out there, most of them in this creative world, in terms of influencers, that's something that is completely new. So I feel the financial institutions, they're gonna take a while to, like, keep the pace and really understand, okay, someone's financial behavior. Like from an influencer, if the guy is a micro-influencer, how much of a credit can I give to them? So we thought about exploring the digital footprint, understanding their behavior, and giving credits on top of that. So it's just interesting now that you said that, like, looking back and see that the core is here, like, it's about using digital footprint to understand others, but before was more giving them access to credit to be able to buy equipment and anything that they need to start. But at one point, like, we started to notice a lot of need that people have for research on a professional level. And it was very interesting to see, like, how much of a time a salesperson spends by day just doing prospect research. It's almost half of the day. It's a lot of time.
Was there any aha moment for you where you're like, no, I should do this instead?
Well, it's a great question, because I just feel that's the journey. Usually you start a startup based on a pain point and what you have seen, and our current approach in a certain way it's based a lot of that. But at first, so I was working in a big company. I was already feeling that, I don't know, what am I doing here? And I had, like, the background in AI. Things were getting crazy with the release of ChatGPT. I was still working on a company when I was kind of exploring, like, on your free time, what do? You research. And exploring the problem space. But then, okay, I decided to leave, and Fluence in a certain way came from some of the experience that I had during my time working at Anheuser-Busch. So I had to deal with a lot of stakeholders, like, inside the company. So doing a lot of alignment with a lot of people, a lot of things is basically based on your relationship with them to be able to open doors and things like that. But also the vendors, right? Like external salespeople that wanted to sell new products or services to the company. And that was a hurdle dealing with that, because a lot of people were not able to navigate the B2B sales cycle and properly sell their product to the different stakeholders involved in the process, because they didn't know the audience. They were trying to give a pitch to the director of cybersecurity and give the exact same pitch to the VP of sales. But those are like two different personas, right? Like different needs they have with your product, different KPIs they want to achieve. So why are you selling it the same way? You will not stick with at least one of them, right? And it was very frustrating for me to see some products potential startups that I found that would really solve our issues, but they are not being able to, be a vendor because the pitch was not there. So, what is the problem? And then you started talking with, sales folks, trying to understand. Then I saw that, wow, there are two kinds of professionals, right? The good ones and the bad ones, like everywhere. And the good ones, they are excelling because they are preparing.
From what I understand, at the very beginning, the product was quite different. You could search anything, basically. But then you scoped down to searching mainly people, right?
Yes.
Got it.
Fluence is a search engine, right? But we're really focusing in terms of creating specialized agents that can find different informations about different realms on that person, but also adding an inference model that can do the behavioral profiling, aspect of the person. So really understanding that. And I feel that's the thing about startups, right? You have to be really good on your core value. You have to have like one main value that you want to focus and you want to be the go-to tool when the person thinks about that specific issue. And then you go building up and put features on top of that. When we noticed that people were using Fluence over and over again to find information about others, that was the aha moment. Because people kept using like that, and then I would go talk with the manager at the company that was using us. Can I do an onboarding again or do another demo? Because I was like, man, you can use Fluence for more than that. So why are you not using? So I kept showing to people what else they could use Fluence. And of course, they're using for specific things in terms of communicating with the person. But people just kept using like that. And for me, it was a point of, oh man, am I going to keep fighting on the way that people are using my product, or am I going to understand why they are using like that and what is the main value they see on using like that? And for me, that was a huge aha moment, because at first I had that pretentious way of thinking, you're using wrong, so let me show you the proper way to use it. But no, that person was using on what was meaningful for them, in terms of finding information. And when we did this deep dive to understand why are you looking only for people and what is the specific problem on top of that, that was the aha. And that's when we thought let's focus on that and helping people to better connect with each other.
Let's say I'm a fintech company who wants to sell you accounting services to your startup. If I type your name, your company name, and then I type in how do I sell my accounting startup services to Luciana, is it gonna help me to improve my pitch or give me suggestions about how to pitch you specifically, what kind of data would you like to see as a persona? I'm really curious.
Yeah, in fact, based on your behavioral profiling and your role, the kind of industry, company that you work at, Fluence can understand, what are the unique value prop, what are the main features of your product that you should be highlighting to Luciana in order to, close the account. So it can bring you the specific use cases you should bring up, perhaps even the way that you're gonna tell that kind of story, right? So overall, we provide you a highlight, but if you want Fluence to help you crafting the pitch, we can do that. We have a knowledge base, so basically an area that you can upload information about your product, your company, use cases, what is your ICP, the personas. So with such information on top of what we are able to find online, Fluence can really provide you the optimal information based on the specific needs that you're going to have.
Oh, amazing. Sold.
Got one client. One new client.
Startup founders and in general people at startups, they bootstrap most of the time.
Yes. Yes. Bootstrapped is the key, right? I think the average time to get an investment is 8 months, or at least was last time I read about it a while ago. So when I decided to start, I already had some cash put aside to be able to maintain myself for X time. So yeah, like I could dedicate myself to make that work. So I feel like now I'm semi-bootstrapped, but for sure, like the first almost a year, I was, yeah, like everything was coming from my savings. And if I can give any kind of piece of advice to anyone who wants to start a startup journey at one point is, man, save some money, you know, at least so you can give yourself some runaway, give yourself some peace of mind, because it's not easy to navigate through uncertainty, at least not for me. I'm a very anxious person. So it's not easy. Yeah, so yeah, save some money for the bootstrap. And after a while, yeah, like especially after getting some traction, we started to get some angel checks, and especially from people who face the issues that we, you know, like solve. So yeah, they were the ones who first like put the money in to fund us. So now, yeah, now I consider myself semi-bootstrap. So I pay myself a salary, but for sure it's not enough. So I, yeah, still use a little bit of my savings and a little bit from the money we raised.
Okay, so for instance, I want to start a company, a startup. How much do I need to set aside if I want to, like, at least have a try at building a startup?
I think just to be safe, save enough to be, yeah, bootstrapped for a year.
Yeah, how much for San Francisco?
Well,
let's say?
Depends on how much, like, on your lifestyle, right? I consider myself a very cheap person. Yeah, I feel...
I'm trying to get a number.
Look at you, look at you. So that's the thing, because it depends on like each person, their own like background, how they spend money. As I said, like I'm a very cheap person. I can live with $3,000, $4,000 a month in San Francisco. But on top of that, for example, I have my own specific life things, you know, like, so just a little bit about myself. Maybe my accent is already saying Brazilian. So I'm from Brazil, I'm from Rio, but I'm from a poor part of Rio, right? I came from a low-income family. I'm first generation, single mom. I'm the youngest. The whole Brazilian story. And on top of my expenses here, I help my family, because I feel that as I was the one who was able to, I don't know, excel a little bit based on like how
get to the
next level in a certain way. I feel a little bit of this responsibility of looking back and helping my family. So I also have that. So yeah, that's the thing. Like depending a lot on your expenses and how much do you need. So for me, it's something around like 3-5K.
So like basically covering your cost of living, and then also setting aside, for you personally, setting aside some money for your family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because for example, that if I didn't have that on my bootstrapped budget, I know that I would not have peace of mind. And it's not something like my family, no, it's something that I feel I have to do, you know, like as to my mom, you know, and yeah, adding that on top of, okay, how much can I live for like a year, knowing that I could keep helping my mom, helping to pay her, I don't know, health insurance and things like that, is something that gives me peace of mind.
I'm curious, so like now that you are getting revenue from the clients and also some checks from angel investors, how much do you pay yourself as a salary?
I'm paying like 2-3K.
Yeah. Like very minimum.
Yeah, the minimum.
Like typical early stage startup.
Yeah. As people say, the ramen money, right? So it's okay, make your calculation on top of how much do you need to buy ramen and live by eating ramen. It's not my case, okay? I eat things beyond ramen, but that's how I think even Paul Graham likes to put, like, when you're gonna think on your bootstrapped budget.
Can you guide me through the process? So you started your company, and like how did you go from there? And then like getting your first client, and then getting into accelerators, and then I don't know, fundraising. So like, and also like what current stage are you at? So
we are early stage, guys. It's basically me and my co-founder, but the process was in a certain way, like on those steps that you mentioned. So, okay, let's start a startup and applying to programs, especially because if you're a first-time founder, I feel that people need to know if you have any kind of way to learn, the kind of tricks and learning from other people's mistake or whatever to really optimize you as a founder. So I always had that feeling like, oh, I need to have any kind of big logo behind me, back me up. So for sure, like looking to the programs, the big ones, we first started with the discovery process. I feel like that's how everyone should be starting. So talking with people, with sales folks, trying to understand the process, the hurdles, what the current tools were not providing to them, and things like that. And then we released our alpha version. So yeah, the initial very ugly version of the product, but with a good intelligence so we could understand the value. And I think it was like less than 2 weeks after we closed our first corporate client. And they have been like amazing, and we learned so much, like from them, from how they were using and the specific needs they had. So things started to have like a better traction after that. So then we got our second client, and we got into the Alchemist Accelerator. It's the biggest accelerator program for B2B startups, and has been like an amazing experience. I'm really enjoying being part of the program, and I'm learning a lot as well. But yeah, at one point we're like, okay, let's stick with those clients. Oh no, and then we got a third client. But after a while, that third client churned, and it was very painful for me because yeah, like a churn is painful, you're like, man, like what are we doing wrong? But yeah, we were doing things wrong, like we are not doing the customer success part of things properly with them. I feel they felt kind of abandoned in a certain way, and for sure like things on the product itself that we had to improve and optimize. So they left, and when they left we were like, okay, let's focus on those two clients, really understand what they are going through, what are the needs, optimize and improve for a beta version, and then with the beta we open for more clients. And that's kind of the moment we are at now. So we learned a lot on how they were using the platform to really understand what is the value people are seeing in our product, right? Like how are they using it? So we can really dig into that, understand better the segment we're going to be helping, how we're going to be helping people. And yeah, with those learnings, we did the design for the beta that we are releasing now, and now opening for more people to use and join the platform. And I'm very excited because we have a new client joining this week, and another one. I don't want to put the, go ahead, but I think we're going to close another one soon. And very excited with the journey itself and the learnings, because I feel like being a founder is a constant learning process. And yeah, every day is a new day, every day is a new struggle. If you think your day is going to be linear, no, it will not. Things happen. So yeah, that's a little bit on the moment we're at now. Like we have early revenue, we are going to finish the Alchemist Accelerator program in May, and up to then keep raising our pre-seed round. We are focusing to angels now, and then yeah, like hopefully have more people joining the team to help us accelerate our developing.
Do you have any big money trouble or money drama? Juicy, I know.
Of course I did. Since starting Fluence, indeed, like the journey has been crazy. I had a good friend who was going to spend the summer in a monastery. She was going to spend like the 3 months there, kind of isolated because it's in the middle of a mountain, so you don't have Wi-Fi, you don't have phone signal. So she was going to stay there, but she had no way to arrive there. And that's not far from here. Like the Sahara mountain is, 3 hours south. So I told her like, oh, you don't have how to go there. So long time that I didn't take some time out of the startup. So I was like, oh, let's go to Pinnacles, the national park, to do a hike. And then from there, I drop you at the mountain, stop in Carmel, for a night, and then the next day I drive back to San Francisco. And oh yeah, awesome. Then we went there, we went to Pinnacles, amazing, beautiful. We did a cave hike, if anyone wants to go there, it's really nice. And then I was going to drop her to the mountain, and the oh my gosh, the road was terrible, like very hard to drive. And at one point, like we were 10, 15 minutes to arrive at the monastery, the brakes of my car failed.
That's crazy. That's my nightmare.
Yeah, like out of blue, like the speed, like at first, like I was feeling the brakes were weird, like you can, when you like pressing and stuff, like you can feel it, right? At one point, I felt they were weird. And boom, I started to see like the speed increasing. And it was like just a huge abyss, like had nothing there, nothing at all. And I noticed before my friend, right? So that was the moment where my life movie was like, the cliche is real. Like I saw my whole life passing through my mind, and I was just like already seeing myself over there, like the abyss, like dead. And at one point, and yeah, it was just like, yeah, everything coming to my mind and kind of on this paralyzed stage. And my friend started to scream. She was like, what is happening? Like, Lu, why are you not braking? We're gonna die. And that kind of brought me back. And I was like, what? And had one tree there. And I threw the car to the tree. And the tree held my car through the mirror. So my car is stand like, here's the abyss, and my car stayed like this. Like the front of the car was into the abyss. Like if my friend opened the door, she would fall down, for example.
Wow.
And the tree held my car through the mirror. And of course, like I was not in a crazy speed, especially because the road was tricky, so I was going slow. So at least when the brake had shit, like we were not like in a crazy speed. So hold my car by the mirror. And in fact, I was not able to fix the mirror up to now because I don't know.
You still have the car?
I do. And especially because I don't want to blame the car. No, because my brake disc overheat.
Oh.
And when the brake disc overheat, like no matter which car it is, it stopped working.
Wow.
Yeah, and then that happened. We went down, we finished the way, like at first walking, but someone was driving. We were, that person dropped us at the monastery, and they were amazing. Kind of the monks had me for the night, helped finding a tow for the next day, and then I went down to Carmel. But all of that to say that that was unexpected. Expensive burden. For example, only the toll to take my car from the mountain to a mechanic in Carmel, it was like $1,000.
Wow, yeah.
That I had to pay for that. Plus, like fixing the car, like the mechanic checking anything, then spending a few days in Carmel, which is not cheap. But I had, it took me a while to be able to come back. Because at first I would be like, man, I can't drive now. Like I was scared. And especially here, I'm not sure if it's a California thing, but I usually, like when I used to do road trips, I used to see a lot around here in California, where sometimes on the road you have like those crosses, where kind of someone died there. So I would see that, and I recall one moment that, oh yeah, no, I'm going back, so I just have to do laundry, and I had to go to a place to do laundry, and on my way, I saw one of those crosses, and I was like, and it started like everything coming up into my mind. So I was like, oh yeah, I can't drive now. So I stayed there for at least 3 days, and another unexpected money. And then went back to San Francisco. Then at one point we noticed that the mechanic in Carmel didn't solve something that happened from the beat, which was something with the radiator. And then unexpectedly I had this absurd amount to pay, which was basically more than I paid for the car itself. And the mechanic even asked me like, oh, should I do the service? And I was like, man, even if I'm gonna sell it, I have to fix it to be able to sell it, so do it. At that point, I hang up from the phone. I cried, of course. And I was like, wow, I have to leave the country in 1 month. because I have no way. Like, that was part of the money that I had to save to, and I had that crazy new expense. The same day was when I got the Alchemist letter.
Do you have an emergency fund?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
You have to have, right?
Financial wellness, yes.
Yeah, no, but I think the main thing is that we are strugglers, right? Like, we came over to this country by ourselves. We don't have anyone to rely to. For example, if I'm here and I just break and I don't have anything else, I don't have who rely on. Like, of course, my family, they love me and stuff, but I didn't come from a like a wealthy family, so it's not something that I can call my mom and say, hey mom, can you send me $10,000 so I can try it for a bit longer? No. So when you have this thing of, oh man, depends on me, literally, you have to learn, you have to be financial intelligent and conscious to be able to make things work.
I'm curious, so like you were thinking already maybe when you were studying that you want to do a startup? Or like, so you mentioned you were saving for it, right?
Yeah.
Like, at what point did you start saving to like go into the startup mode?
Oh, that's a tricky question, because I feel I spent my whole life saving. Any pocket money I would be saving for something, because I didn't have anything, nor much. Like me and my siblings, we started working early to help at home. So I always had this savings habit. And especially when I came over here, was like started to get money finally after graduating. My instinct was just save money. And I wanted to be an entrepreneur at one point. I just didn't know it was so close. Maybe something, for 10 years. But it's even funny you ask if I have like an emergency fund, because I had like different savings with different names. So I have like my bootstrap savings, which was the one like for the bootstrap period, and the emergency fund that is more like, okay, if I get into the end of the bootstrapped period and I have to, and I feel that makes sense to, I don't know, pay for myself to stay here a bit longer, or if I have to go back to Brazil or whatever, I have that emergency money. And I also have the emergency savings. So, okay, if my emergency savings, something happened, and I have another emergency on top of that, I have the emergency. So, because at the end, starting your own thing, and especially when nothing is guaranteed, you just have to be strategic. You have to be 5 steps ahead from any direction, right? Because things can go this way or that way, and you have to understand everything that can potentially come from each way and be 5 steps ahead from any of the possible outcomes. So that's the crazy thing about this journey. And
I'm really curious, like I see you as like very strong, independent person. And I was wondering, like, well, obviously it's a practice of having co-founders. It's kind of also safer. Like, have you ever thought about like being just yourself, the founder?
No. Being a woman, start up by themselves, like being a woman founder is already hard enough. And in fact, investors, they don't like when they see like a one founder startup, and especially because it is a lot of work. You can't do everything. You can't build something and talk with investors and find prospects. Sometimes like go to events that we have to do it a lot. You do that very well. You can't do everything. You have to divide and conquer. And indeed, like investors don't like that. It is harder. And being a woman founder by itself is already not easy. Like that is the magic number that we as women founders, we always keep an eye at, which is the 2% of VC investment that goes to women-founded companies. Like, indeed, the
2%.
Yeah, the investment.
2%.
Like, it's ridiculous.
Seriously?
Yeah, and there was a report. I don't want to say the wrong company, but I think it was Deloitte that I saw at one point last year in 2024 that they were talking about the state of the unicorns in the US. So in fact, most of the startups over here, the unicorns, they were all founded or led by the underdogs, meaning women, immigrant, people of color. So it's just absurd to still see this kind of bias in 2024, 2025, especially when the facts say a completely different story. For example, startups led by women, they tend to give an ROI not only faster but higher. So it's just like, okay, if the facts are there and we still only getting only 2% of the money, what is happening and why? I don't know. So yeah, like for sure, I would not navigate by myself, no, because it is already hard, raise money, even kind of in theory, filling all the boxes that are there. To tech founders, early revenue, users, product, it's there, it's already harder. So being by myself, oh man, I would not be able.
Last question, juicy one, the breakup.
Oh my God.
I did not forget. Tell me.
Oh my gosh, what should I tell? So I feel, in a certain way, I just feel it's natural and happens with a lot of startups. In fact, many startups, they kind of go down because of co-founder breakups and issues that people can't go, over. And with me, my co-founder, so I started Fluence with this good friend from undergrad from Brazil, and especially because I was like, be someone with complementary skill sets and mindset similar to mine. So, kind of best person to start this journey. And I still think so. I think he was the best person to start the journey because for sure I learned a lot from the experience, from working with him, and things worked well for a while. I just feel things changed when we started to have divergent ideas and feeling towards things. But especially when we kind of stopped being able to communicate with ourselves. For example, we were really good in disagreeing. And that's something that I feel like if that is one skill set that you can have with any co-founder, I think is that, because you're gonna disagree on things, but how to disagree, right?
Productively.
Yeah, that says a lot if things can work well or not. And especially at first, we were very good at it. But at one point, we just, I don't know if stopped listening to each other, but I just feel like we stopped being able to communicate properly. And then things started to, not work so well. And also, I think I feel almost pretty sure. I just don't want to say, I'm sure, but I'm just saying bananas. But I feel that also the two of us being in different environments was a problem. Because
what do you mean by different environments?
Because I'm here alone, struggling by myself, and in a certain way, okay, if that don't work, where am I gonna live? What am I gonna do? And things like that. And being Silicon Valley, right? Where the pace of things is different. And we were working remotely, so he was back in Brazil. So he was in Brazil at home, having his family, eating his mom's food every day, I just feel like he had a kind of safe and secure environment. So I just feel like my timing was much more urgent than his timing. So for me, at first that's part of the process, the iteration process and how do you put things into the hand of users. I think that's, I was kind of trying to follow the playbook, but also I had a different sense of urgency that for sure made things that for him we could wait or not like this, and for me, the pace was a different one. So at one point, especially not being able to communicate properly with each other, that was the big problem. And the two of us, we both felt that, things were not working. And then I even brought it up, hey man, we need a third co-founder because I needed more speed and grit. and then came up like my co-founder, and then at one point, yeah, like he decided to leave, and especially because like things were not moving well in terms of communication, and at one point I feel like both of us felt that okay, like working together was not working. So it was a very friendly breakup. Like we're still friends, I think, I hope. No, just kidding. Like we were talking recently, but yeah, like it was good because it was something that came from both ways. So it was not like awkward or one being dismissed and the other one feeling bad. Like none of that happened.
Okay, a few last questions. So first of all, what advice would you give to your younger self just coming to the US, like knowing all your journey? Like, what would you say to yourself, like, if you could time travel back? Like, what, maybe, like, if you could give a roadmap or, like, give some precise advice or some lesson, what would it be?
Be careful the roads. No, but...
With the brakes.
I think would be trust your gut.
Trust yourself, trust your intuition, trust your gut. Very good.
Honestly, if I had like just trusted that I would be able to find ways to make things work, for sure would save a lot of stress and a lot of stressful time.
What do you think makes a resilient mindset, like disruptors mindset, that you need to like build a good disruptive startup? What 3 things you think are like the main qualities that a founder has to have?
Has to have, well, the person have to be able to put the ego aside, so being humble. Because you have to start the journey with the feeling and the mindset that you don't know anything and you're learning everything new. And at some point everything is new. I feel like at one point I was researching, I was preparing myself as much as I could to go into the journey, but the journey is not like the theory, you know, like things happen that are not on the playbook, and each person, each story, each case is completely different. So yeah, setting that aside and knowing that, man, I don't know anything, so I have to talk with the people who can teach me. I have to listen to the users and leave my assumptions aside. For sure, it's a big one. The other one is resilience. So you have to be resilient. You have to know that you're probably going to deal with more problems than solutions during your daily time. So it's just being able to take a deep breath and go through it. And just keep trying, just keep pushing. It's like being punched and being able to just get up and get ready on time to be punched again. Yeah, because the next punch will come. You just don't know when, but it will come. After a while, they start to be more spaced. I feel before I was punched daily, now it's sometimes like more than once a week, but you know, like they are sparse. So be resilient to deal with any, you know, like unexpected thing that comes along your way. And the third, I think, would be a good listener. Because learning from other people's journey, so I don't know, from a founder who is now Series A, B, C, whatever, for sure sometimes helps you to avoid any pitfalls. But also the learning to learn from users. Because that's a big thing, like you're not designing or creating a product for yourself. Of course, that having some experience on the problem, it's something that it's amazing and adds on top of it, but it's not for you. And understanding that it's not supposed to be how you like or how you think, no, has to fulfill the need of the person who is using. And especially, for example, in our case, right? When at first, we didn't pivot the product, I feel we pivot the value, like who we are serving and how. Because people were using Fluence in a specific way. And at first, my thought was, oh, let me train them. Let me go back and show them what they can be using. Because that was me being kind of arrogant on, oh, no, they have to use it like that. Because that's how I thought and that's how things were designed. But no, when people are using, they had the specific value they were looking for on it, and the specific way they wanted to use. So, so when the pattern is there, you can't run away. You have to dig in and understand. So, going back, talking to people, understand how they're using and why, and being able to apply, change your point of view of not only the problem, but how is the best way to address the problem. It's something that for sure brings a huge difference to the process.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like it's a wrap. I'm freezing right now. My hands are so cold. We're gonna show you. We're in a garage. Can you imagine we're doing this? Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my God. Okay. Let's have drinks somewhere.
Yes. You can celebrate. Yeah.